What's up, fishing friends? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. We greatly appreciate your viewership. Real quick before we get into it, if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. Help us grow the channel. We've seen some good growth in our channel in the last couple months, and we'd like to continue that trend. So if you're not a subscriber, it doesn't cost you a thing. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Share it with a friend, give us the thumbs up, and help us out. It's a labor of love. We really enjoy doing it, but for us to continue to do it, we need your help. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. It is freaking cold outside. I don't know what part of the country you are from where you're watching it, but I'm in the Midwest, southern Indiana, and it sucks right now. We've had snow on the ground now for, I think, 16 straight days. Now, those of you up north are just laughing at me right now saying, yeah, that's not much. For us, 16 straight days of snow on the ground is a lot. I have been building baits, working on tackle, doing all that stuff. As you all well know, if you're familiar with the channel, my kids have a tackle business that they have started. Building hand-tied skirts for jigs and building jigs. So we pour our own heads, powder coat, and then build the jigs. So they have a tackle show coming up, so I've been helping them catch up on all of that stuff over the last couple weeks. But to jump straight into it, I want to talk to you guys today about jig fishing. I just teed that one up to hit that one right on into the fairway, didn't I? Jig fishing is what I want to talk to you about. And more importantly, wintertime cold water jig fishing. It's pretty simple. It's counting rocks, as they say. Fishing real slow, dragging that jig. But there are a few keys to it that I have found that help me get a few more bites, and I want to talk to you about those right now. Now, before we get into that, real quick, I know somebody's going to say, hey man, what's up with the IU sign and the Tennessee hat on at the same time, or Tennessee toboggan? I'm a fan of both. Lay off. I can like two teams. Why does everybody think I can't like two teams? I like one in the SEC, one in the Big Ten. Born and raised here in southern Indiana, so I am an IU fan at heart, but my dream home is in Tennessee. There's no place I'd rather be than Rocky Top, baby. So, sporting the Vols swag as well. All right, jump into it. Good old jig. Lots of different trailers out there, but what you need to understand about cold water is one key element, and that is rate of fall. Rate of fall when fishing a jig, and not really any time of the year, but especially in the winter, makes a huge difference. There is one other element that plays a lot, and that is the size of the jig. Now, it is a common belief that bass tend to target bigger prey in the wintertime. What I will tell you is I don't know that that's entirely true. I think there's something to that, but I just think bass are opportunistic feeders. If you get it in front of their face, they're probably going to eat it, especially if they don't have to work real hard for it, because they're pretty lazy sometimes, especially in cold water. So what I like to do with my jig is I will change my trailers depending upon water temperature, water clarity, and what I'm fishing, and how deep I'm fishing. So if I'm fishing something that's relatively deep, I don't want to get a big bulky trailer where it's going to take that bait forever to get to the bottom. It really slows down your jig when you bulk that trailer up. Now, most of the time, I'm not going to fish super deep. We're talking 8, 10, 12 foot of water that I'm going to be dragging a jig in the wintertime. Rarely deeper than 12, rarely less than 5 or 6, but most of the time that 8, 10, 12 foot range. So my favorite trailer to use is this little bad boy right here. And this is just a Yum Crawl Pappy. This is the smaller one, a 2.75 inch. And these pinchers really float up good. Get these up here. They really float up good on the bait whenever that jig's on the bottom. that bait really stands up awesome. But I really like this one on most jigs that I throw, unless if I'm throwing a bigger, bulkier jig. But just for your average size run-of-the-mill, the 2.75 inch or the 3 1/4 inch works best for me. But that is my all-time favorite go-to. And the other reason that I love this trailer is a lot of the crawl trailers out there have a lot of action in the pinchers. This has a very beaver bait style action to it. Those pinchers just kind of float almost like a chunk trailer versus kick. Wintertime, cold water, stuff ain't moving around a whole lot. So you really need to think about that when you're picking your trailer. Do you want something that's got a lot of movement or less movement? This one here, the pinchers don't kick as much. They just kind of free flow and stand up and look very, very natural. Also love to throw this on a more of a finesse type jig. This 2.75 inch fits perfect on a little finesse jig. So that's my number one go-to. If I'm fishing shallower and I really want to slow this jig down, then I'm going to go to more of a beaver style bait. There again, I'm getting away from the crawl style bait because when I go bigger, I typically get more kicking action out of those claws or pinchers. I don't want that. I want to go to more of a beaver style bait. This makes a big, slow, bulky, cumbersome jig that really just kind of drags in the water. So that's what I will do whenever I'm fishing a little shallower and I don't need that bait to get on the bottom quick. And especially if the water's super cold, then I will go with that jig there and really just slow it down. Those are my two main ones. Now I will switch it up a little bit from time to time, but I will show you my other favorite trailer, and this one's kind of goofy. It's not something you would traditionally think about, but I love to do this on a finesse jig. This is a Hogstalker Jigs River Runt jig. It's a 1/4 ounce finesse jig, hand-tied skirt. Great finesse jig for fishing in super clear water. I will do something that most people kind of laugh at, but this is a Missile Baits quiver. I will thread this bad boy up on there, and I bite about 1.5 inches. This is a 4 1/4 inch quiver. Which is just kind of a straight tail worm. Got a little paddle tail on the end. And I will bite about, say, 1.5 inches off of it. Leave me about a 3-inch piece of plastic. Run that bad boy up on there. It's just got that little paddle tail. That right there is an absolute killer jig trailer on a finesse jig. It's got just a little bit of kicking action, cuts through the water real nice. Great for clear water. If you're fishing cleaner, deeper reservoir, that trailer there will get you some bites for sure. So those are my 3 favorites. Just a crawl type trailer, but I like to keep it compact. And then more of a beaver trailer if I'm really wanting to slow that rate of fall down. And then if I want to fish super clear water, I can speed that rate of fall up maybe a little bit. But I'm going to go with a smaller, more finesse style jig, a 1/4 ounce finesse versus just a regular. This is the Hogstalker Jigs Jack of all jigs. It's the all-around jig to use for pretty much everything. It's great for skipping, swimming, pitching, flipping. You can do pretty much everything you want with that jig right there. I will break down where to throw these jigs in some videos to come, but right now I ain't got nowhere to throw them, so it's gonna be kind of hard for me to show you, because if I want to cast out into the lake right now, I'm gonna be skipping across the ice. But hopefully the weather will get right in the next couple weeks, get the ice off the water, and maybe we can get out and drag a jig around and see if we can't catch a few, and I can explain a little bit better about what I'm looking for, where I'm setting up. It won't be long. The days are slowly getting a little longer, and they're creeping up on us, so before we know it, we'll be turning the corner out of this wintry wonderland. It's wonderful for some people, just not for me. All right, guys, you all have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Go catch one if you can. If you can't, tune into another video and try to learn something.